Hello, fellow YouTube family. I got a really important article. It's dated yesterday from the New York Times. It is entitled, topic is Europe. In the elections, Greeks are expected to make old guard pay for turmoil. And I gotta read you this. Your jaws will really shock you what I gotta read about Greece. In the 2 years since Greece asked for a foreign bailout, its leaders have troubled governing even with clear majority. Now as the country heads to elections on this Sunday, which is tomorrow, in which no single party is expected to secure enough votes to form a stable government. They may have to try governing with political chaos. Along with the elections in France and with a rising tide of anti-austerity sentiment across Europe, Greece's vote is expected to have a clear impact on the future of the euro. The next government, amid the deepening recession and facing likely social unrest, will have to enforce the country's loan agreement with foreign creditors, which stipulates slashing $15.5 billion from the state budget over the next 2 years and completing a crucial bank recapitalization. Yet fierce opposition to the bailout terms, tax increases, and wage cuts have been seen in Greece's gross national product drop 20% since 2009. And unemployment hit 21% and led to the implosion of the two parties that have dominated Greek politics for 4 decades. The Socialists and the center-right New Democracy, and the rise of the fringe parties on both the right and the left that oppose the loan deal. It's the end of an era. A discredited political system and its contract with society are coming to an end, said Stavros Legeros. I can't pronounce it. It's European. A political commentator and the author of From Kleptocracy to Bankruptcy, about Greece's economic collapse. The problem is that there is nothing to replace it. The old order is dying and the new one has not yet been born. The loan agreement was hashed out with the temporary government of Prime Minister Lucas Papadimos, the former vice president of the European Central Bank, who was installed in November. He called early elections last month after his government fulfilled its mandate of signing Greece's loan agreement with its foreign creditors. The European Union, the European Central Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, known as the Troika. The Troika had been they want Mr. Papadimos to stay on as a stabilizing force to carry out the loan agreement, but he has clearly worn out his welcome with the Greek voters. That is really essential for us to know, who seen him as beholder to the country's lenders than to them. But the Socialist and New Democracy, the traditional governing parties, are equally unpopular with voters, who are expected to punish them for backing the terms of the bailout. Accustomed to polling more than 80% of the vote combined in most elections, this time they will be fortunate to receive more than 40% combined. The situation is so volatile that veteran pollsters have had trouble conducting polls. Our models of social analysts are based in the past. I mean society with which practicality does not exist anymore. The coalition of the radical left, called the Syriza, which opposes the loan agreement but wants Greece to stay in the Eurozone, is expected to place third, which would be the party's strongest showing. It has campaigned under the slogan, "They chose without us, we're moving on without them." Those margins are expected to make it extremely difficult for the front-runner in form of a government. Although Greece lacks a traditional coalition rule, political analysts say that the most likely outcome is for New Democracy and the Socialists to form a new coalition. Almost forgot where I am. The governments with the New Democracy leader Antonio Samaras as prime minister, even though he says he would refuse to share power and would call for new elections if they did not receive a clear mandate. The socialist leader, Evangelos Venizelos, who helped negotiate the loan deal as finance minister and is holding the fractured party together, has expressed the openness to form a coalition as well as the importance of remaining in the Eurozone. On Sunday, we'll decide whether we stay in Europe and in the Eurozone, or whether we condemn the country to bankruptcy and its people to massive poverty, he said Friday. And at a small and lackluster rally, the economic turmoil has galvanized a range of smaller priorities which oppose the loan agreement. That's the key thing. They oppose the loan because of the austerity measures. They have little else in common. They have the right. They include the right-wing Independent Greeks Party, which want to stay in the Eurozone, and the hardline Communist Party, which never split with the Moscow during the Cold War and wants Greece to leave the European Union. What's really important to me is about this is that if Papadopoulos is not reelected after Sunday, when you get one of these other fractions, and there's a good possibility he won't get reelected, that you're going to immediately see Greece leave the Eurozone. The big thing is I'm really upset with the Greeks. Is not only they hid what their actual debt is and how much money and industry and all that the country makes, but they turn around and they take these loans like they did a couple months ago. They took the bank, the bailouts. They took the money and decided just to turn around, gee, we don't want to be part of the Eurozone anymore, and we're going to file bankruptcy. Hell with the rest of European countries. Even after the European countries, France, Britain, Germany, and all these other countries, they trimmed their debt. They took the money. That's the same thing as stealing to me. But there's a lot of things people do not realize is that when Greece defaults, and they're going to now, is how much this is going to affect Europe. Rest of Europe is going to go under tremendously a lot more austerity measures. Cut wages, lack of benefits, hyperinflation, and the Germans are feeling this because they've got to be feeling this because they're the ones who worked for this money and it was loaned out to them. See, the European banks borrowed money to the Greek banks, and the European banks borrowed money from American banks. That's the European banks borrowed money from American banks. I'm sorry, but the Greek banks borrowed money from American banks also. This is going to directly impact the United States. We more likely we are going to see it get a lot worse in Greece. And as I had said before about with the possible, Russian stock market, collapse and stuff like that. That money could have definitely been used elsewhere. I would have let Greece fall, and this way there's no austerity measures placed on the people of France, Britain, Germany, and, the rest of Europe. And they could have helped out the Dutch government. But, but they didn't want anything bad to happen. But this is the beginning of the fall of the Eurozone. European economic common market. You're going to see the Eurozone fall apart. If Greece does, and they're just going to say, heck, well, in other articles I've read, they want to go back to the drachma. And that's, it's, their own opinion and stuff like that. But I think that we're going to see ensuing chaos. If they just can't do it now, all that money that they gave them, it was just shot. I want you to pay attention to these news and updated videos. And once again, all my videos, if I make something, it's about politics or something like that, it's always substantiated and I always have credible resources. So if anybody ever wants to know where I get the article from so they can research it, I'll be more than happy to tag it and to link it. All right. This came from the New York Times. The thing is, we are going to see. We've seen this last week. We've seen yesterday. It's 168 points drop in the Dow Jones. Our stock market itself is heavily inflated, like Gregory Manarino, and we got really significant problems to come. If you don't get out there and start trying to stockpile some food and some gasoline or whatever it takes to to take care of your family, it could be too late. We have to do things today. Action requires immediate attention. We have to keep, taking care of food storage. We got to order our food, whether it's from Wise, company or Mountain House. Go to the store and get bargains. Try to, get ramen noodles, whatever it takes. Stockpile as much as you can. It is going to get really, really bad by this fall. One more thing, pay attention to my next video I'm going to make today. I'm in the process. I got part of it done already. It's Occupy Fond du Lac, and it's like the Occupy Wall Street in Oakland, that kind of stuff. But it's a very peaceful protest, and you'll see me talking to a lot of people and interacting. You'll get to see like my daughter, and some of the friends, and you got to be with. But more importantly is how well it's conducted. And that's important. You don't see police out there yelling at people, or you don't see protesters causing, any problems. There's no anarchists, and it's very peaceful, and it's very respectful, and it shows you how we all get along. I'm going back. I did part of it this afternoon. I'm going back a little later today and videotape. I've talked to a lot of people. My wife videotaped it, and how their feelings toward the economy and stuff is here in Wisconsin. Please subscribe, take care, and God bless.